Bichara Supply Chain, highlighting and showcasing solutions for the most complex challenges facing the industry in 21st century by our team of subject matter experts and mentors. Broadcasting every week, all year round, we will present the most up-to-date series of podcasts and webinars.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bichara Supply Chain. This is Nur Hadi, your host. I am speaking now with Wolfgang Lehmacher, a supply chain and technology strategist. Wolfgang is a board member, advisor, a business angel, and also global traveler. Previously, he was the head of supply chain and transport industry at the World Economic Forum and also holds an executive level position at the multinational companies. Thanks for coming, Wolfgang, and welcome to Bichara Supply Chain.
Thanks for the invitation, Nur Hadi. It's a real pleasure to have that conversation with you at a very interesting moment in our lives, in a unique moment in our lives.
Okay, so today's topic is creating a global trade supply chain network. But before that, can you please brief a bit about yourself, your professional background, and what do you do, Wolfgang?
Originally from Germany, I'm living in the world. I'm a global traveler. I like the global context, seeing different cultures evolving and different ways of doing business. Mm-hmm. I'm usually commuting now between the major platforms of the world, which is the Asian ecosystem, the European bloc, and North America. And I have a specific interest in Asia and spending a lot of time here for the last, say, almost 20 years because that is the region which is the most dynamic and which has also changed the most, which still has a wonderful future ahead as I see it.
Mm. It is great. I would like to jump the questions that probably everyone knows. The globalization has become pervasive. Suppliers have pursued the global market, and most companies now is sourced extensively from the global supplier. And now we do have a COVID-19 where it's also impacting to the global supply network. So what is your view on this, Wolfgang?
It's a very big question, Nur Hadi, and a lot comes to my mind. We have been living through very turbulent and different times in the last, let's say, two to 3 years, and this because the changing global trade environment and now the pandemic, and we had a few in recent years as well. Mm-hmm. So what I see is not the big change in supply chains. Many talk about the end of globalization, the departure of supply chains from Asia. But I think that companies will continue to source across the globe and feed their global production networks. China will play its role in this globalized world, and so will the US and Europe. Mm-hmm. But more interesting will be to look at Southeast Asia, Bangladesh, the future of Pakistan, Turkey, Eastern Europe, Northern Africa, and Mexico, which are all very interesting industrial hubs near the larger platform, or even part of the larger platform, but on the fringes of it. So I see the movement between those adjacent industrial hubs, and overall, what I think is that this is a moment, we are now living a moment of reflection. These more, let's say, catching headlines are just, I think, targeting eyeballs. But what is really happening is that supply chain managers have now time and enough information and data, because we are living in a series of experiments, to adjust their way they are running the supply chain, or the way they have set it up. But it will not be as radical as some people think, because we are not moving factories. We are talking about ecosystems. And you cannot compare an ecosystem in Vietnam with the ecosystem in Mexico. Mexico is strong in automotive, and Vietnam has become strong in electronics. So you cannot just say, okay, because Mexico is also an industrialized country, we are now moving an aerospace factory there, right? But nevertheless, there will be a reflection about the current situation. I think that complexity in supply chains will increase because we have means that enable us to build very complex supply chains. These are the powerful digital tools. And I see that more and more of this will come into play, because those companies that have driven digitization in the past, that have now tools in place like Internet of Things, which give them the data to have a much higher level of visibility and the ability to run analysis and develop predictions, are much better off. So that's another area where I see tailwind now. So for me, the geographical shifts will not be as strong as what I expect to happen in the digital field.
Okay, so then what the opportunities we do have in designing the supply chain in turbulent times like the recent day?
I think there are tons of opportunities. But I also, when I think about opportunities, I first need to say that we are facing a human tragedy here, and our thoughts should first be with those that are suffering or even departing, and a lot have these experiences now in their sphere. And a crisis brings a lot of suffering and reflection, as I said before. It brings challenges and opportunities. And in fact, we encounter far more opportunities in a moment of crisis than in smoother times. So we are in a phase where people can really make a leap. You can build significant competitive advantage. A crisis proves often to be a catalyst for change, a driver of innovation, and we will see this. We will see a lot of innovation coming up. This will not help us in the short term, but it will help us in the mid to long term. I see opportunities for governments, for businesses, and for people. The governments have learned that many services can be delivered digitally. I think that will change governmental plans. As businesses, they have also discovered that working from home is not such a challenge as we thought before. Not everyone can work from home, but a significant part of the workforce can. Governments in the West might regain acceptance, dependent on they run the crisis now. I also expect that experts will be rated higher after the crisis than before. And you know there was a kind of skepticism across the world, how good the expert advice really is. With shutting down large parts of the retail sector, the e-commerce got additional tailwind. So online businesses of all shape have a chance to run or grow stronger after this than before. Then I think there is also a chance for employees. They have the opportunities to learn new tools, new way of working. Mm-hmm. They have also the possibility, because some have long commutes which now fall away. Mm-hmm. So to learn something new, to learn new competences, book online courses, and nations could find new level of solidarity. Mm-hmm. And finally, my big vision is that after the digital age, we have the chance to put a little bit more energy behind the circular age. What I mean with that is the circular economy, a more diligent treatment of the resources we are having. Yeah. Because when I go out today, I see blue sky, I have fresh air, I see clearer water in the river. So, and we are still running on a 50 to 70% output level of the economy. Mm. So this gives more hope, as well that the radical policies which governments have introduced, I never thought that would be possible, or the behavior changes. So this is really a major defreeze, an eye-opener, which gives room and hope to a lot of things.
Yeah. Perfect. Another thing I would like to ask is, I think it's a very important question as well. So how to build a synchronized global trade supply chain?
The word synchronization is a multifaceted word.
Okay.
Let's define it as something which is fluid, aligned, without a lot of disruption and hindrances along the way. Yeah. I think that the only way to build synchronized supply chains at scale is through technology. Mm-hmm. And the base prerequisite is digital connectivity. Mm-hmm. And based on this connectivity, we can then think the digital tools that are the enablers. And this is all needed to orchestrate the community along the supply chain to ensure that everybody is on the same page. And this is not only supplier, manufacturer, distributor, etc. It also includes the consumer. The consumer is the point where it all starts. And consumer engagement is part of that synchronization, because we want to synchronize with the expectations and the needs of the consumer. So it starts with the connection of the consumer to the online and offline multi and omni-channel, where we see through the mobile revolution, the smartphones, a lot of innovation and interaction at the business-consumer interface. We see increasingly integration with distributors, with retailers, from the manufacturer and the brand side. And the supplier integration we had already to a certain extent some decades ago. But that's how I see it. We have now more powerful architectures which glue this all together, digital architectures. These connected systems or demand and supply networks will generate enormous amount of data, which we also now can handle first from a volume perspective. We put them up in the cloud without limitations, and even small companies can do this. And from an analytics point of view, I'm always saying we are now in the era, in the sub-area of the Internet of Things. So we are generating enormous amounts of data. And the next movement will be the artificial intelligence and the analytics movement. There is so much innovation and so much venture activity in that space. And this analysis and the analyzed data will enable a high level of automation so that we don't depend on decisions which have to be taken and which takes time and reduces the fluidity. So that's my my vision of a synchronized global trade system.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, before we close our conversations, what advice you can offer to help business leaders to be more agile and also they can to be more adaptable in facing global supply chains?
The key advice is to leverage this opportunity of COVID-19 and to use it to reflect deeply on the situation, what a unique global shock, a simultaneous supply and demand drop has done to the business, and how much agility the business really had to absorb the shock or to leverage the shock. They are very different situations. If you are an online business in the grocery space, you have to manage growth now. You have to find resources. If you are in the textile business, you have to find warehouse. In the West, the containers are arriving. Did you think about that? Do you have systems which allows you to later easily find what you have to stock now? Yeah. So these are examples of how you need to look at the current situation. So you look, in fact, at previous decisions, and you need to think about, why did I take these decisions? What were my assumptions at that time? Yeah. So how did that play out? But more important will be the reflection going forward, because the world after COVID-19 will, to a certain extent, not be the same world as we had before. We need to change our view. We need to change our logics. We need to understand what are the trends which will accelerate. And I mentioned a few. What will fall away and fall apart? How can I make my business stronger? And a big part of this reflection is building collective intelligence. And I spoke about solidarity before. Yeah. I think this is also the big moment of collaboration. Yeah. Collaboration with suppliers, with customers, academia, experts, with the government, and gather as much information as I can to capture that moment which I described as the higher generator or more powerful generator of opportunities we are having in front of us. Mm-hmm. That's what I would recommend is reflect on your decisions and learn from what these decisions did in the situation we are now, and then leverage the entire ecosystem knowledge and views to build a better future.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. So thanks for coming, Wolfgang. Appreciate for you sharing with our listener at Bicara Supply Chain. Thank you. Take care and goodbye.
Goodbye, Nohadi. Thanks again.
At Bicara Supply Chain, we are committed to driving global perspective to embrace technological adaptation in improving process efficiencies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Bicara Supply Chain. And stay tuned for the latest updates. To learn more, visit our website www.bichara.supplychain.com. Thank you for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you at our next episode.